Hey everybody, welcome to CS 201, Computer Programming for Non-Computer Science Majors. My name is Brian Baker. I'm going to be your instructor. There's somebody else you're going to see in this class, Chris Scafidi. He is the creator of the class, created all the assignments and everything. He is the course designer. And so you're going to see his face in videos during the explorations and sort of lectures and stuff like that. So yeah. But I am your instructor, and so when you talk to people, when you send an email, you're sending an email to me, not to Chris. But regardless, we're basically tag teaming it since it's his content and I'm just teaching. This is one of my weekly videos. I love doing these in online classes. One, because they answer so many questions. I really recommend you check the video announcement each week to kind of get some helpful hints and tips and tricks to sort of get through their week. Successfully. Normally I tell people like, hey, by the way, notice this little bit. This has tripped students up in the past. I can't really do that with you because this is the first time this class has ever been offered. So in future classes, I will tell them the things that tripped you up, which does not help you. I apologize, but it's just the way time works. So anyway, yeah, so check out the weekly videos each week. Basically, and our weeks, by the way, are going to go from Tuesday to Monday. So most of your assignments are going to be due Monday night, 11:59 p.m. And then Tuesday is the beginning of a new week. So Tuesday, you should expect, Tuesday morning-ish, you should expect one of these videos. These are going to be super low quality, not edited, you know, sometimes just me and my iPhone walking around talking. They'll all be shorter than this one. This one's going to be the longest by far because it's the beginning of the class. But definitely, you know, any problems that people are having, I'll talk about them here in these videos to kind of help you out. If you want to get a hold of me, the best way to do that is through Canvas. Send me a message through the Canvas I guess you click on inbox or messages. I can't remember what it says in Canvas. It's the Canvas messaging system because that is a completely different system. Email is great, but I've got 2 different college campuses. I'm full-time department chair for a department in Fresno City College, and then I'm teaching online with Oregon State. So between 2 campuses plus all my personal email, I've got like VIP set up so that people can sort of break through the noise. That's hard to do with students. So the nice thing is with Canvas being a separate system, you get a notification, it pops straight up on my phone. I'll know immediately when you send me a message. And often I respond immediately. No guarantees, you know, we'll get back to you within 24 hours officially, but often students will find like, geez, I sent you a message at 1 o'clock in the morning and you responded immediately. I'm trying to get more sleep. So hopefully that will not be the case for you, but you know, we'll see. Self-care, I don't know, something like that. So anyway, so that's how to get a hold of me. Send me a message through Canvas. I will have office hours. I find that with online students, you often prefer evening office hours. This may not be true for this class. I don't know. I'm basing this on past experience. But if that is the case, Thursday nights, 6 p.m., I'm going to have office hours through my Zoom link. You'll find that in the syllabus, so click on that, and you can jump into Zoom. If it turns out that the class prefers a different method of communication, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. Actually, I think Google just got rid of their video hangouts, didn't they? Regardless, I like the idea of face-to-face conversations. This is a pedagogical concept that you probably don't care about, but in general, as much as we can make this online class as human feeling as possible, the better. And the better your success rate should be. Your mileage may vary. Regardless, office hours, Thursday night, 6 p.m. Now, we will have I hope we'll have a TA. As of right now, they have not officially been hired. So, I've been talking with the TA a little bit, talking with the person who hires the TAs. Hopefully we'll get his name soon, and then I'll be able to put him in, and then he'll have an office hour as well to answer your questions and help you out. So multiple things, but Thursday should be good. That gives you enough time 3 days into the week where you can get through some of the explorations and maybe begin looking at the assignment so that I can help you at the beginning of the assignment so that you can then start working at it over the weekend before you turn it in on Monday night. Yeah, so then the other thing is, before you sort of start week 1, go through all of that sort of start here, begin here section, the first module, which is not the week 1 module, the one before the week 1 module. And that'll have you look at a bunch of stuff, kind of get you used to the class in general. One of the biggest things, look through the syllabus. There's a lot of great information in there. One of the things you may be wondering, what textbook are we using? The textbook we're using is completely free, available online. It's called Automate the Boring Stuff. It is a Practical Programming for Total Beginners. It is a very accessible textbook, and it's free, which means it's like literally accessible. Like you don't have to pay for it, which hopefully will improve student success, because often students don't buy textbooks, which is a terrible idea, by the way. But just throwing that out for future classes. This one, you don't have to worry about it. It's available for free. Just put a link in your browser and go read the assignments when you need to. The other thing that's going to trip you up that you should notice in the syllabus is that this class has one exam. It's the final exam, and it is a proctored exam, meaning that if you are not in Corvallis, if you're in Corvallis, there's a place on site. You can go set up, make an appointment for proctoring, take the test whenever you want. But if you're not in Corvallis, you're going to have to find a proctoring solution. ProctorU, which is an online service, very popular, but there's also libraries and community colleges all across the nation that will help you out. We have an office on campus that will help you find a proctoring solution wherever you are. Hopefully you are not in the middle of the tundra of Alaska. That's going to be harder, but doable. I believe there's a way. But regardless, they're going to help you out with that, and I'll send you the links, put everything into an announcement so that you can find proctoring. I know that that's at the very end of class, but because it's going to be something you're going to fret about later, I want to make sure you know about it now, so you can start thinking about it and hit up that office on campus to try and get a solution for you. What else here? Other than that, the class is basically composed of weekly programming assignments that you submit through Gradescope. That should be straightforward. There are 4 group programming assignments. I know what you're saying. I don't like group projects. They're all extra credit. I will say if you don't like working with other people, your career is going to be very hard because you're always going to be working with other people. But regardless, for this class, there's 4 group programming assignments. They are extra credit, so a little bonus if you want to, and they'll appear in 4 different weeks throughout the semester. And then there's also 4 different graded discussions that'll happen throughout the semester. The first one is this week, so check it out. Other than that, so that is sort of the class in general. Now, what do you need to do to succeed this week? What is this week all about? This week is really just getting an understanding of why you might want to learn how to program, even given that you're not a computer science major. The other, and by the way, you probably already have a pretty good idea, otherwise you wouldn't have taken this class, right? The other thing is going to be setting up your environment. There is a weekly programming assignment. That weekly programming assignment this week is 1 line long, and it's basically a copy and paste job from the explorations this week. So it's going to be super simple. It's like a herald program, and you just have to say like, here's the king, long live the king. Honestly, I'll check the assignment. I think if you say anything, it's going to give you full credit. But regardless, what am I going to say? That's not the point of the assignment, right? The point of the assignment is actually getting a program made. And that's going to be about setting up your environment. As you go through the explorations will walk you through installing Python on your laptop, as well as installing a text editor of some sort. So the text editor, Chris Scafidi, the creator of the class, recommends Visual Studio Code, which is a sort of stripped down version of Visual Studio. In fact, I don't even think it's a stripped down version. I think it's an entirely different project that just happens to have the same name. I have actually never used Visual Studio Code. I used the full Visual Studio suite, but I've never used Visual Studio Code. Here's the thing though. I've heard good things about it, and I've heard good things about it from people who are like open source Google Linux people, and Visual Studio Code is made by Microsoft. I figure if your enemies say good things about you, then there must be something to pay attention to. So I should probably check it out. But you can use Visual Studio Code and then just run your programs in the command line in either a command prompt in Windows or your terminal window in either Linux or Mac. And that's a great way to go. But what you could also do is install something that's more of a fully integrated IDE. Chris Scafidi in the Explorations mentions PyCharm by JetBrains. That is a free product if you're using the community version, which is plenty enough. It is great. It is a full-fledged IDE. I love the JetBrains IDEs. I use them for a lot of different classes and different languages. PyCharm is great. It works wonderfully. Here's the thing though, it's a full IDE, so it's going to be kind of like sitting in the cockpit of a 747. There's going to be a whole lot of buttons. And when we first start, it's just going to be, all we're doing is taxiing. I only need you to worry about the 2 pedals at the bottom. And you're going to be like, but wait, this is the steering wheel. I'm going to like, no. That's not actually how you steer a plane when it's on the ground. Just worry about the pedals. Ignore all the other bells and whistles. And that might cause anxiety. If you have a problem with anxiety, maybe don't choose PyCharm. It's a great product. Later on, you're gonna be like, what is this refactoring for? Well, it's actually really convenient. It's a super great feature that'll make stuff really easy for you later on, but you don't know why you need to use it yet. So just ignore it for now. And if you're okay doing that, you're fine. Auto-generate getters and setters. I don't even know what they are. That's an awesome feature. But it saves you a lot of time later on, but you're not going to know what it is yet, so just ignore it. In fact, a lot of the features of PyCharm are really set up to collaborate with teams, which is something you're never going to use in this class. I guess you theoretically could, if you're super advanced, maybe, but let's assume that you're not going to use those. Point being, it's going to be about setting up your environment, and you're going to have a few different options. At the end of the day, what you need is a text file that ends in .py, right? You could do that in TextEdit or Notepad. By the way, when we say text editor, we mean text editor. Word is not an option. Word is going to add in a bunch of invisible characters. It will not compile correctly. You can't do something in Word. But Notepad, which is free on every Windows machine, TextEdit, which is available on every Mac machine, that will work. You can do it in that, and then you won't get any of the great troubleshooting tools. You won't get any of the great collaboration tools, but that's all you need at the end of the day. You're going to be submitting a text file that ends in .py, and that's all you need. But again, those environments, pick the one you like best. I recommend PyCharm. Just be okay not knowing what all those bells and whistles are for yet. Just focus in on what you need. But if you want Visual Studio Code, I hear is great, and you could just do something much simpler than that. So that's kind of the general idea for your assignments this week. The explorations are going to kind of walk you through stuff, but again, the code that you're looking at is really just printing something to the screen. It's super simple, because that's not what this week is about. This week is about setting up your environment. And so literally you could probably copy and paste your assignment for this week and just change the bit in between the double quotes. It's that easy. When you're going through the explorations, there's this program called Replit. It essentially just allows you to practice programming there in the browser. And so you'll see that as well. And there's an exploration that talks about that. I've already talked about the assignment, the Herald assignment. There is a discussion this week. The discussion is basically just you Googling, hey, why would I want to learn how to code? And then, finding some articles or, maybe a couple blog posts and talking about it, talking about what you found. Honestly, I think it's pretty straightforward, so hopefully you'll do fine. I will say, though, there is an optional discussion. There's an optional discussion. I think it's early on in the week 1 module. It's kind of like, hey, here's kind of the general introduction to the class. At the end, hey, do you want to introduce yourself to the class? And it says that it's optional. Try to not make it optional. Again, as human as we can make this class, the better it's going to be and the more likely you're going to be to succeed. So put your picture up there. I mean, seriously, like a face, even if you're insecure about your face, right? Seeing people's faces connects you to other people. Write something about yourself, introduce yourself, tell a funny story. It doesn't matter. I try and keep it PG-13 or less, but it's fine. We're all adults here, I think. But again, PG-13 or less. That sort of connection that you have, it's going to make it easier for you to do group projects when you want to do group projects, when you start seeing people in office hours or just, in the Q&A forums as you're trying to ask questions. You're going to have a better sense of connection in the class, and that is going to hopefully lead to success in the class. People talk about the student-instructor relationship being super important. Everything that I've read, the most important sort of determination for you to succeed in your program, in classes, are the lateral relationships. It's students to students. It's you showing up and knowing that people know you. They know your name. They care about whether or not you're there. Definitely put your picture up. Do stuff like that. Next week, we get into programming. So this week, really focus on, getting yourself comfortable with just, hey, I can write a little program, I can get some output, I can see the output, and I know what I'm gonna do to turn in stuff into Gradescope. Because next week, we're gonna talk about variables and expressions and operators and all that sort of stuff. We're gonna actually begin programming in sort of its real form. The assignment next week is gonna be determining the temperature of a body, like a dead body after death. Which is either going to be gross to you or super interesting. Hopefully you're the latter, just like I am. But regardless, Chris went through a lot of effort to make these assignments super practical, where you're really creating programs that you could see like, oh, okay, I'm actually creating a program that can, determine the population of fish in a river, that could, do whatever. It's all going to be very practical. Not always so morbid, but practical. So that's all coming next week. This week, really get comfortable, get to know one another, get your environment set up, and that's the focus. Again, if you have any questions, hit me up through that Canvas message system, or visit my office hours Thursday night. And with that, have a wonderful week, and I will see you online.